Hello everyone, my name is Alexis, and today we are going to be talking about Chorshanbiev, a political prisoner who is currently in prison in Tajikistan. So Chorshanbiev is a professional mixed martial artist who used to fight in Russia for pretty much his whole entire professional career. Well, in December of 2021, he was in Moscow, Russia, when he got pulled over for speeding. Little did he know this mistake would pretty much change his life forever. He was arrested, and then he was taken into custody. After being arrested, he was then deported back to Tajikistan. This is where many questions arise, because why would he be deported back to Tajikistan just for a speeding ticket? Many suspect that the Tajikistan government called for an extradition of Chorshanbe because of what he had said in his social media outlets. Chorshanbe had said in his social media outlets that he was pretty much tired of seeing the Tajikistan government doing whatever they wanted and wanted to call them out for it. He was specifically talking about the protests that had occurred in Karog, in which an innocent victim had passed. He stated in his video voicing his opinion, basically stating that, how long can we endure these injustices? We need to stand up against the government. We need to make sure we stand up for ourselves, etc. This caused an eyebrow raise pretty much to the Tajikistan government because of his platform. He can get people to listen and his voice can be heard due to the large amount of following in his platform. But the Tajikistan government, they did not like this at all. They don't like when people speak out not in favor of them, so Chorshanbe was in their crosshairs ever since. Before all this, he was also getting ready for a professional fight against a Russian when the Russian called him a Tajik. Chorshanbe somewhat took offense to this because he stated that he was not a Tajik, but he was a Pamiri, and that he was proud to be a Pamiri. This also raised a few eyebrows in the Tajikistan government because they took offense that he didn't like being called a Tajik. This all caused him to be arrested and pretty much sentenced to 8.5 years in a Tajik prison. I personally think that this is an absurd amount of time for only voicing an opinion and not actually committing an actual crime. All he was doing was speaking out and voicing his opinions. I think we personally need to fight this because criminals who murder and steal get less time than Chorshanbiev got. And I just think it's ridiculous that he got 8.5 years. They state that he was inciting riots and public calls for capture of state power, but he was only voicing his opinions and what was on his mind pretty much. I think basic human rights globally are that you definitely have to have right to free speech, and this is a prime example of why. Chorshanbe should not be punished due to him saying some words that some people didn't like, especially 8.5 years of a prison sentence worth. We don't know if Chorshanbe is being tortured or mistreated in prison due to this, but I am sure he is mistreated at least in some sort of way. He says that he isn't, but he can also be saying that due to the fact that he could get mistreated even more if he doesn't say the right things. A lot of controversy also occurred during his trials and his sentencing. When it was time for his court days, pretty much, the examination of his words that he had said, a political scientist hired by the Tajikistan government was the one to observe and figure out whether or not Chorshanbe had hostile intents in his words. This caused a huge unfair playing field in the court due to the sole fact that the political scientist was hired by the Tajikistan government under the president of Tajikistan. This definitely changed the way the court went because although they may have said it was a fair trial, a decision could have already been made by the Tajik government to say that his words were hostile and threats against the government. We have to keep fighting for him pretty much and make sure that we can at least get his prison sentence reduced because it is absurd that it is 8.5 years worth just for the fact that he got a speeding ticket and that the Tajik government didn't like that he outspoke on them. So, yeah.